Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about time multiplexed space switch. Okay. Time multiplexed space switch. So, in this concept, we come across one drawback, that is light inlet cannot able to connect to the gate outlet in a different slots. That's a problem we come across in the case of time multiplexed space switch. That means in ith slot, input cannot be connected to the kth time slot outlet. That is called as PSI. What is PSI stands for? PSI stands for time slot interchange. Okay, this is a time multiplexer space switch will not support this concept of PSI, time slot interchange concept. That is, and this time slot data can be transferred to a kth time slot outlet. Okay, so with the help of this time multiplexed time switching, it is possible. Okay, so first of all, we try to understand how this PSI works. In case of a time division, so time multiplexed time switch. So for that, I am taking an example here. So this is, I am considering only one incoming trunk and one outgoing trunk. Incoming trunk, IT stands for incoming trunk and OT stands for outgoing trunk. For time being, to explain this PSI principle, I am taking only one incoming trunk and one outgoing trunk. From the previous classes of time multiplexed switching, we came to know that some definitions such as one frame time. What is one frame time? One frame time is 125 microseconds. Okay, one time frame is 125 microseconds. So if this time frame contains m modules, means you can define one more parameter called as one time slot. One time slot, nothing but 125 by m. Since this time frame divided into m modules, I have taken it as m. Therefore, one time slot means 125 by m. So these are some of the points we already come across in the previous class. Okay. Now, so to explain this concept, you have to think one more point here. That is, you can operate a time division time switch in three ways. First is sequential, right, by random read, and second one is random write by sequential read, and third one is random input by random output. So we come across all these points while discussing about time multiplexed or a basic time division time switch. We operated. Okay, here also we can operate these TSA principles either in sequential write by random read, or a random write by sequential read, or a random input by random output. So the advantage of using the third method is you can able to increase the number of subscribers, which is not possible in case of first and second methods. Because in the first and second methods, it is going to include all the active and inactive inlets also. But here in the case of third method, we are going to choose only the active inlets and active outlets. That's the reason why you can able to increase the number of subscribers in the third case. So all these points you come across in the previous class itself. Okay. So to explain this concept of TSI, just I am taking an example of a sequential write by random read operation. So and one more thing we observed is, in case of these three methods, you can explain the operation either in terms of phased manner or in terms of slotted manner. Okay. I also explained this concept in the previous class itself. Phased manner. It is divided into two phases. In phase 1, it is going to perform data write operation. In phase 2, it is going to perform data read and control memory read operations. In case of sequential write by random read operation. Okay. And what is the meaning of sequential write and random read operation? So in case of sequential write, what it is going to perform? It is the inlets are scanned or inputs are scanned sequentially, and corresponding data is written on the data memory sequentially. Okay. There is a one-to-one correspondence between inlets and the data memory. This is the data memory. First inlet data is stored in the first location of the data memory. Second inlet data is stored in the second location of the data memory, and so on. Nth inlet data is stored in the nth location of the data memory. Since we observed that the inlet and outlet may be different, this inlet may contains a third outlet, or the second inlet may contain some sixth outlet. That means while reading the data from the data memory, it is going to read randomly, because this first inlet contains is transferred to the third outlet. Therefore, it has to read the data randomly. Clear? Therefore, hence the nomenclature sequential write and random read operation. So again, I explained the same concept in the previous class itself. Okay, how this sequential write and random read operates. So this is the mechanism. That's one-to-one correspondence between the inlets and the data memory locations. So it is going to write the data sequentially, whereas since the outlets are different for each inlet, it is going to read the data randomly from the data memory. Okay. Now I am going to use this concept and explain this TSI principle, time slot interchange principle. So to explain this, I am taking an example of taking only one incoming trunk and one outgoing trunk, which contains some M modules in each frame. Okay. So here it is going to use one data memory and one control memory. Okay, there is a one-to-one correspondence between this data memory and control memory. So again, to increment the locations, addresses, we have to use one time slot counter. One time slot counter. What is the value of this time slot counter? Means CTS is equal to 125 by, and take it as some TTS. What is TTS? Time for switching. Time switching. Okay. So with this value, the counter is going to increment for every individual time slots. So initially, what it contains means generally it contains two memories, right? Data memory and control memory. So here initially, so both are accessed at the same time. The data memory as well as the control memory are starting access at same time slot or same time unit. So thereafter, what it is going to do means the control memory is going to use the contents inside the control memory as addresses of the inlets. So for example, in this case, this the outlet 1 or the location 1 contains 1. What it means? It indicates the address of the inlet. So in the one inlet, it contains some data 38. So during this time interval, what it is going to perform? It is going to transmit this data 38 to the first outlet. So whenever counter increments, it is going to reach to the second location. This second location contains 7. What 7 indicates? 7 indicates the 7th time slot. What are these indicates? They are the time slots. Because it contains M time slots, you can take this as M time slots. Okay. So in the first in this trunk, okay, the seventh time slot data 42 is transferred to this second outlet. So from this what we can observe, you can able to access different time slots in different times. That is what we call as a time slot interchange. That is not possible in case of time multiplex space switch. Or we come across, right? So ith time slot is unable to transfer data to the kth time slot. But this is possible in case of this concept of TSI. Okay. So there are some of the points regarding the TSI, and few more points are discussed here is what is the time taken. So what is the value here? You can take this TS as, so since it contains two control memories, how much time it is going to access the time is 2n into TS, TM. What is TM? M stands for memory access time. Okay, since it contains n inlets. Okay, therefore the total time taken is TS is equal to 2 into 2n TM. What is TDS? It is 125 by T. Sorry, 125 by M. This is 125 by M. TD is nothing but 125 by M. That is equal to 2 into NTM. Therefore, 125 is equal to 2 NMTM. So, in this duration of 125 microseconds, you can able to accommodate this many subscribers. Okay. And few more points. And one more thing here is, so far we are discussing about only one directional, but the data is two directional, right? The data must be transmitted in two directional. One is for transmitting incoming speech, another one is to take the outgoing speech. Okay. So while I am choosing this two directional data transmission, already we know that because of advancements in PCM technology, it supports parallel data transmission, right? Within the same channel, it can able to transmit both transmitting data as well as the receiving data. Okay, so in this case of two-dimensional, two-way transmission, so there are two cases how to discuss. One is if it is a non-folded network, if it is a folded network. What is non-folded network? Generally, non-folded means there is no connection between inlets to outlets. These outlets may not have connection to the inlets. Generally, we use this type of networks in case of transit exchanges. Transit exchanges are only used to transmit the data from one exchange to another exchange. So there are no subscribers. So you can use, what is the meaning of folded network? Folded networks, the outlets are connected to the inlets. So here you can able to perform local calls. So whenever local calls are required, definitely you have to go for a folded network. So in these two cases, what is the type of data memories you have to use? How many data memories you have to use? In case of folded network, since we are bothering about two-dimensional speeches, we have to use two sets of memories. That means it requires two data memories and two control memories. This is the first point. And coming to the case of non-folded networks, only one set of memory is required. That is one control memory and one data memory is sufficient. Okay. So this is about the TSI principle. And one more point we have to discuss here is what is the delay it is going to take. Because we are thinking about an ith time slot data is transferred to the kth time slot outlet. So what is time it will take to transmit the information? So generally, even if you are not considered TSA also, we take a time of TS time. Because since in case of time multiplexed or time division time switch, we are not transferring the data real time. We are storing the data in the data memory. In the next time slot, we are going to read the data. Therefore, a maximum of 1 TPS delay is present even if you are not using TSI. Okay. What the range of the maximum delay means? The maximum delay is TTS to MTTS. So, based upon the locations of the slots, the time delay may be a maximum of MTS because it contains M memory modules, M time slots. The maximum delay is MTS. Okay. So these are some of the points regarding the time slot interchange, which is used in time multiplexed time switch, so that an ith time slot data can be transferred to a kth time slot outlet. Okay. So already we seen that you can use this phase array principle for explaining this concept of this sequential write, random read, and so on. So again, you can go for a overlap method or a time sorter method. So this is the method of overlapping. So already come across all these points. And one more point here is cost. What is cost here means since it contains only the control memory, there are no switches here. Okay, here there are no switches. Therefore, the cost of this system is equal to the number of memory words. So how many memory words are there? Since it contains two memories, one data memory and one control memory, which contains M locations each. Therefore, it is the total cost is the 2M. Okay. And one more thing is we can also operate this TSI in expanding mode and in concentrating mode. So far what we see at the inlet side, it contains M time slots, and outlet side contains M time slots. Generally, these time slots may not be same; it may be different. So if they are different, I can take it as M1, M2. Okay. So if M2 is greater than M1, then you can say that it is in a expanding mode. Okay. The time slots, number of time slots M2 in outlet side is more than inlet side means you can say it as an expanding mode. So in expanding mode, the output bit stream is more. Output bit stream rate is what as output bit stream rate is more when compared to the input bit stream rate. In case of concentrating, it is reverse of this one. That is M1 is greater than M2. So obviously what we can observe here, the input bit stream rate is more than the output bit stream. Okay, that is nothing but that is for concentrating. If M1 is equal to M2, so both the bit rates are same. Okay, now, and one more point here is, so when we are using this expanding and concentrating modes, we have to use buffering at the input side as well as output side, so that we can maintain a constant bit rate. For uniform bit rate, if you are interested to get an uniform bit rate, then you have to use some buffering scheme at the input side as well as output side. Okay. So one more thing, it has to maintain this constant 120 is equal to M1 plus M2 to Tm. What is Tm? Tm is the memory access time. So in case of expanding or in case of concentrating, generally we will operate it in a asynchronous mode. Asynchronous mode of operation. Either in case of expanding or in case of concentrating, you can use asynchronous mode of operation. Now, time multiplexed multiplexed. Now we come to the point of time multiplexed time switch. So generally the problem faced here is it has to accommodate NM subscribers in a duration of 125 microseconds. Because to take an example that it contains n inlets and n outlets, and each inlet contains m modules. Therefore, generally for the duration of this 125 microseconds, it has to accommodate this nm subscribers. This is a problem we have to be faced in case of time multiplexed time switch. Okay. So we can operate this time multiplexed time switch in 4 configurations: serial in, serial out, parallel in, serial out, and serial in, parallel out, and parallel in, parallel out configuration. So first we will discuss about the serial in, serial out configuration. So here there are n inlets are there and n outlets are there, but you have to transmit the data serially in as well as you have to take the data serially out. So for that you have to use some gating mechanism at the inlet side as well as at the outlet side, so that only one inlet can able to transmit. That is, it is going to send data serially and it is going to take the data serially. Hence the nomenclature serial in, serial out. Okay. So in case of it is just simply looking like a n cross 1 and 1 cross n switch. Generally speaking, this type of circuits are resembling an n cross 1 and an 1 cross n switching matrix. Okay. So here we use data memory as well as a control memory of size how much? Nm. Okay. So it can also operate in 2 phases. Either it is in slotted manner or in phased manner can operate it. So in case, coming to the next one, that is a parallel serial out configuration. The idea here is you have to divide the data memory into n modules, and each module contains one inlet. So here the entire data, in the previous case it has only one data memory, okay, but in this case we are going to divide the data memory into n modules, and each module contains m locations, and each module contains one location. It refers to one frame. It refers to one frame. Okay, so this is the structure how to follow. So in case of this parallel and serial out, unlike previous case, you have divided into T0, T1 and so on, Tn slots. Okay, in the previous case it is only 125 by m. Okay, but here it is 125 by n plus 1. Okay, this is the time you have to share for each time slot. So the operations proceed like this. In case of T0 time slot, what it is going to do? It is going to read all the input lines into the data memory. Okay, in this time slot T0, what it is going to do? It is going to read all the incoming lines data into the corresponding data memories. Okay. So here we use again a hard control memory, and size of control memory is n cross m. Okay. So here it is using a 2-dimensional structure here. So it is going to have 2 addresses, a baud address and a module address. So the module address refers to the time slot, and the baud address refers to the inlets. So this is very, very important. So here it uses a 2-dimensional structure for selecting a inlet and a time slot, corresponding time slot. So here it contains 2 things. One is the module address, another one is the baud address. Generally we use this module address to select the time slot. So out of this 1 to m, it is going to select one time slot. In the corresponding, this is a word address for selecting inlet. First inlet or second inlet or nth inlet. In that second inlet, fifth time slot. Like this. You can able to find out or choose the corresponding outlets. Okay. And what is the size of the control memory? The size of control memory word is log to the base mn. It is ceiling function. Okay. So this is about the operation of a parallel serial out register. So vice versa can apply. And this is a method can go for a overlap method or a non-overlap method. So the formula of this is TDS is equal to n plus 1 dm. So when this is possible means if I am using a non-overlap method. If it is overlap method, what's the formula can take? TDS is equal to n plus 1 into Tm. Okay. This is for case of overlap method. This is for the case of non-overlap method. Time constraints. So the vice versa of the previous case is serial in parallel configuration. And the last one is parallel in parallel configuration. So in this configuration, the idea here is you have to divide both the data memories and control memories into n modules. So if you see here, it contains totally n data memories and each data memory contains m words 1 to m. Similarly, the control memory is divided into n modules and each contains m words. Okay. Since you are dividing both the data memory and control memory separately into n modules, we can able to increase the number of subscribers because there is no dependency between these two. Increase the number of subscribers. This is possible in case of parallel configuration, which is the complex configuration. But with the help of this configuration, we can able to increase the number of subscribers. So here also there is a one-to-one correspondence between the data memory and control memory. Okay. So generally here again contains two words. So we can divide this control memory into two parts like this. So it contains the input side as well as the output side. The input side contains the inlet address and word address. Similarly, the output side contains outlet address and the word address. With the help of this inlet address and outlet address, you can have a correspondence between an inlet and outlet. With the help of this inlet address and outlet address, you can able to establish an connection between a corresponding inlet and outlet. With the help of this word address, we are going to provide a connection between time slots. To select a time slot, we use this word address, and to select the inlet outlet pair, we have to use this inlet address and outlet address. So this data is stored inside the control memory. Okay. This is the size of this control memory words. Okay. This is about the operation of parallel configuration in case of time multiplex time switch. Okay. Thank you.